Well, hello there, and welcome to the first episode of Tigera Plays. Today we're going to be looking at Kamen Rider Chou Climax Heroes. Now, you may be asking yourself, what's a Kamen Rider and what's a Chou Climax Hero? Today we are going to be finding that out. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kamen Rider is a tokusatsu show. A tokusatsu show is basically a show where, as you can see, costume heroes, monsters, all that fun stuff. But this is a fighting game made by Ating, who worked on some stuff you might have played, like Capcom vs. Tatsunoko and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And here we are in the main menu. I would have never been able to figure this shit out if it hadn't... Some of it's in English, and you can't hear any of the sound, but the sound... A lot of the titles are actually in English spoken, which is really weird. But today we're just going to be playing arcade mode. If I could actually press the right button, since circle is confirm and X is cancel. That's superhero mode, which is wrong. Let's see, arcade mode. Decent character selection, even though the character select menu is disorienting as hell. But I'd say, look at that, it wraps around. Who the hell makes a wrap-around character select with two random buttons? There are two random buttons, which means there are two sides maybe, but then again it's not even the same amount of people from each side to each side. It's really confusing. But yes, you've got all your characters. There's probably about 45, 50. Each of them have even more options when you pick somebody. I mean, so yeah, you have your money's worth with characters. But for now, I'm just going to be picking Wizard, since he's this year's rider. Ring-based and can switch between 4 different elemental forms. Oh, believe me. The game itself is a basic 3D fighter, kind of like Tekken almost. I'd say controls are as such. Square is light attack, X is heavy attack, circle special attack, and for some weird reason, triangle is jump. Why the hell triangle would be jump, I would never know. Now for other controls, you got right button does cancels if you have a bar special meter. Left bumper does something different for each character. It's usually a dash. And the left stick executes form changes and other special things, as you may see. And as you may see, I'm not even really paying attention to the fight right now. I'm explaining controls. But yes, as you can see, it's a basic 3D arena fighter, run around in circles, hit the other person, try to bring their life bar down, etc. And hey, I won. Another thing I've never gotten is why the load screen lags like that. As you can see, most of the environments are just they're kind of boring. I'd say there's not really much outside of rooftops, empty plazas, and abandoned places. But then again, where else would you expect two costume people to fight? I mean, you've watched Power Rangers probably. I mean, when don't they fight in just an abandoned area in the middle of nowhere that just makes no sense whatsoever? But as you can see, it's not the hardest game in the world. If you tap the right bumper when you're being attacked, you can execute a burst maneuver, kind of like Guilty Gear, so that helps get out of attacks. If you have a bar special where you're doing an attack, you can cancel out of your attack into other attacks, which can actually make for some really interesting, just infinite combos if you're smart. One neat feature about this game is the Climax mode, where if one person gets down to 1/4 health, both characters get full special meters, which is somehow supposed to turn the tide or just make it so the person winning can just smash the other person. Now you can do a special move when your bar is full by pressing square and X together. And then it goes into a lengthy cutscene where you basically just finish them off. Some of these are kind of cool, some of them are kind of lame. you never want to see a tag team one, because the tag team ones are just amazingly boring. Two people jump up in the air and punch the other person, and that is it. But yes, you may be wondering why there's no game audio. I just don't have the card for that yet. But yes, flip, 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 and fire kick. Killing people, doing it with style. And yet it goes on. I like how his ring glints in the sun. It's just complete. Just, he's got to be the rider with the most bling out of all of them. Another weird question, why are we fighting in a church? I'd say, that makes absolutely no sense. And hey, it's Kamen Rider XL, or Kamen Rider the Transformer. How a human being can transform into a motorcycle, I'll never know. How that would be comfortable, I'll never know. Why would you let somebody ride you? I will never know. That's another weird thing about this game. If you let the AI take an inch, they will take a mile. I mean, usually if you keep the pressure on, you can win, but they will take advantage of you if you take a second to breathe. But yes, big, and now Climax. Will I do the special move again? Probably not, because it's the same thing, it gets kind of boring, and holy crap. Now, when two people do special moves at the same time, you get this quick button pressing minigame, where you just have to press the direction before the other person. Whoever wins gets their special move. And now we're treated to this one again. And another 2-minute cutscene of sorts where we're just going to watch this happen again. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch, but it gets boring after like the 4th or 5th time. I mean, how many times can you watch this in a row? I mean, I've stopped using finishers because I'm tired of watching them. But I had no choice there. And yes, for the gold medal, Wizard goes for the flips. 1, 2, 3, and sticks the landing. Perfect 10, motherfuckers. And how is that a 14-hit combo? I win again. It's time to pose. Pose with bling. Ooh, Kamen Rider D End, otherwise known as the Thief. Boy, a phantom thief who travels through dimensions to steal treasures. What sense does that make? Absolutely none. Then again, it doesn't have to make sense. It's fun. Let's try out some of the different forms here. We got Fire Style, which I'm using right now. Let's, if he gives me a second, switch down to Water, which I found to be one of the most agile forms. As you can see, by the canceling. There's one thing I do like about Wizard. They've given him a fighting style very close to what you'd expect a mage to have. Lots of evasive maneuvers and flips, and he's not a tank, he's a wizard. I'm about to say, if he gets hit, he's going to be in trouble. But let's go up and do... no, that's Flame. Let's go and do Hurricane. That's one thing DN can do. He can call in other riders for help. So now I have to sit here and contend with 2 guys until his meter runs out. How much fun is that? Not very. Especially when they tag up on you like that. And let's see me come back from this. If anything, I might just switch to land and spam the hell out of some attacks. Like this drill attack. That does absurd amount of damage that you can barely ever see coming. And now it's just a gunfight. That's a fighting game where we're just shooting each other. And I win before time runs out. And see, there's not even a differentiating factor in the win screen, even though you switch styles. And now we get Deno, the more slapstick rider. Ew, boy, it's a parking garage. I wonder where I parked my car. Or if I even did park a car here, because there's no cars here at all, I don't think. No, wait. There's some back there, away from the fight. People who parked those cars knew what they were doing. Insurance rate? Well, then again, who drives a car in Japan? Honestly. I'd say, just think about Japan for a moment. How many cars do you ever see? So why was a parking garage even necessary? Were they built just for fights like this? Or, I mean, there's just no point to it. They're completely pointless structures. Except for things like this. But then again, when does a superhero battle ever take place in a parking garage that you know of? Really, just sit there and think about it for a minute. Oh, and hey, that fight's over. I barely took any damage. Hey, I win. Time for the same victory pose. Again. Oh boy, Kamen Rider Meteor. Boy, he's from last year's show, and I have lots to say about last year's show, but I'm not going to bore you all with the details of that. Just know it's not very good. It's okay for some things and horrible for others. Meteor was probably the coolest thing out of all of it, and they ruined it pretty fast. And thus I shall ruin him. And it's not taking very much time either. Flip kick, flip kick, flip kick. Especially on the higher difficulties, it basically just becomes a burst battle, where whoever has the highest block bar will win. Shadow Moon. I do not know what he's from, I just know he's evil, and I kind of like him. Blood Red Rapier, I mean, can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with the Blood Red Rapier. And now we're at the same helipad as before, except it's night. What an amazing stage change. It's like... And the funny thing is, it's not even a variant of a stage, it's its own separate stage. This game will say there's about 10 stages, and these two variations are 2 of the stages. That's one way to save costs. And you wouldn't find it as bad as you think if you didn't know that this stage has been in all these games since the PS2 era. It's really just saving resources. And it's also kind of cheap, but I mean, it's a helicopter pad on a rooftop. I mean, it's a perfect fighting arena. And I win again. Oh boy, it's the credits. That was the last battle. That went by fast. Now it's time for the credits and the delightfully absurd credits minigame. I can't read what that says, but I'm guessing that's some sort of RPG thing. And now what you have to do is mash the buttons to bump your head into the monster fast enough to push him to the other end of the screen. What does that accomplish? Absolutely nothing. It just keeps going. You bump him back, you move back to where you were, and another one shows up. All your efforts are completely futile as you bump heads. That's really all you do. You fall on your ass every time you bump into him. I mean, look at him. It's like go, 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 and if you let go, and you just let the meter fall back down, you just get bumped into the other direction. I mean, what is the point? There is no point. The point of this is absolutely pointless. Look at it. Go, 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 go. And you can't even get bumped off the screen. There's no way to lose. All I have to do is just start mashing X again, and I'm just going to bump him back, bump him back, bump him back, and then I'm just not going to carry anymore. And then I'm just going to get bumped over to the left again. Bump, bump, bump. And I'm just going to bump him back. Really, who thought this would be a fun time waster? I mean, you can press start right now and skip the credits. I mean, there's no reason to sit here and do this the entire credit length. I mean, really. Look at it. It's just bump, 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 bump. Man, I mean, this is just absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. See, so now I'm just going to skip the credits. You don't even get a congratulations or anything, you just get an autosave saying, hey, I'm saving the game real quick. And then you're back to the main menu. Simple as that. It's a really simplistic game, but it's a fun game to pick up and just have fun with. I mean, there's nothing special about it, there's nothing that bad about it, it's just, if you like Kamen Rider or you like 3D fighting games and want something to play on the PSP, there you go. It's not a horrible game. It's kind of fun. I mean, it is kind of a fun game. But that's about all you can say about it, is it's kind of fun. One of these comes out every year, and they barely added anything. I'd say this is the first game to add something new to it in about 3 to 4 years. And even then, they didn't really add much. They just changed some buttons around and added a couple new techniques, and that's really about it. I'd say, but there's a variety of characters. There's lots. I've heard. I guess the story mode's pretty big. I mean, I can't read Japanese, so I haven't really messed around with it. I just downloaded a complete save file to have all the characters. Because, hey, I just like to pick this game up and play it. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that, is there? No, I don't think so, not in the least. So until next time, when I actually play something that's a little more substantial and longer, I would say, this has been Tigera Plays.